Hey you guys, my name is Asmara, and on this channel my goal is to embrace the fullness of Black womanhood through gaming, creativity, and conversation. So today we're gonna do kind of like a 2020 wrap up. This is a more like personal type video, but I really wanted to make it, so we're here. I came up with a list of creators that made my 2020 and that I was impacted by and affected by. Obviously the world kind of like went to shit this year, but it's also been a year of like exponential growth. And so the people I'm going to be sharing with you guys have either made me laugh, made me cry in good ways, and contributed to my exponential growth this year. So I just want to share some really dope creators with you guys and to sort of sit and chat. So yeah, that's what we're going to be doing today. So we're gonna back up to January 2020, pre-Rona. I was in school at that time and I was just really like sad and lost, and I'm not gonna get too, detailed into that, but a creator that definitely cheered me up a lot during that time was KEEYUH. Now, I feel like I've mentioned her a few times in my videos, but she has genuinely been a positive light this year especially. I found her channel about like in 2019, so maybe like a year, almost 2 years ago. I really admire her confidence. She's just a very carefree spirit, and you can tell that she doesn't take herself or doesn't take life like too seriously. She can be playing any type of game and she can make it funny, and I really love that about her. It was inspiring for me to see a Black woman also just claiming her space and just being authentically her. So whether that is playing Sims or whether that's playing Call of Duty the next day, whether that's just sitting and chatting with her audience, she really doesn't confine herself to a box, and she's just a dope Black woman who just, dares to take up space. I also wanted to tell you guys like a few of my favorite like videos or content from these different creators. By the way, also, not everyone is gonna be a YouTuber. I have some authors in here. I have like a podcast host. These are just a bunch of different creatives from a bunch of different industries. So not just gonna be YouTubers, just gonna be different people. So some of my favorite videos from her this year, her Walking Dead Telltale series. I have rewatched that so many times. She has a few episodes on her YouTube channel and then she finished it over on Twitch. But even with the stuff that is on her YouTube channel, I've gone back and rewatched that so many times. She is so funny, and that is just one of my favorite series of hers. That's actually how I found her channel. I think I already mentioned that. But that's one of my favorite videos of hers. I absolutely love her Mind Your Simsness series, where she goes into Sims 4 or Sims 3 or even Sims 2. She's done it for all the games, townie households, and she just plays out with different townies, and that's been a lot of fun. That's both on her YouTube channel and on her Twitch. One of my favorites was her Sims 3 Island Paradise, Mind Your Simsness. That was hilarious, but they're all funny.
Hold on, now look, you sir, I was just about to go straight to her and say, sis, you look stressed out, okay? But you, sir, I know you put a fork in the socket. Like, what is this hair?
And then lastly, her Wack to Snack series, which is essentially her townie makeover series for The Sims. I love her townie makeovers for her Sims 3 University Life Let's Play.
Lashes is lit, but all the rest of whatever you got going on, peep the shoes though. Peep the low-rise booty crushers though. I still see your shadows in my room.
So those are just some of my favorite videos of hers, and I'll go ahead and link them down in the description. Also, I want to give you all a disclaimer. I'm going to be mentioning a ton of different creators in this video, and not all of them necessarily have the same commentary style for me. So KEEYUH, she is an 18+ creator. So just wanted to give you a forewarning. There's language and also jokes that aren't for children. I'll leave that up to your own discretion if you want to check her out, but she is an awesome creator. So the second creator I wanted to talk about is a podcast host. Well, he's a lot of different things, but his name is Joseph Solomon. He's also known on the internet by his username, What Is Joe Doing? Joe is a poet, he is a spoken word artist, he is a creative, he sings, he has an amazing voice.
We don't do the same drugs no more.
He has a lot of different things. He's an excellent communicator. I actually saw him live before, Auntie Rona came to town last year. and he was really phenomenal. But I became obsessed with his podcast this year. His podcast is under the spirituality category, and he talks a lot about like the social issues, the world, topics on science, sexuality, culture, and also how faith and God kind of plays into that. He is a Christian creator. I just really like learning from him. I learn a lot from his podcast, and they've inspired me. You can really also tell like how carefully crafted each of his podcast episodes are. One of my favorite episodes is the one he did on depression. It's called Last Year Was a Fire, and the whole like idea behind that title is actually comes from one of his songs, because again, he's also a singer, called Gold. And the analogy is that for gold to become gold, it has to first be purified through the fire.
You may have had any of that before. You may have had joy, love, peace, and patience, kindness, and gentleness, and faithfulness. You may have had all those things, right? But the fire made it even more pure.
I just love his authenticity and his just intellect. It's kind of powerful to hear a Black man talk about those types of things. I also love his episode on Africa and Black America. I thought that was a really interesting conversation he had with his friend who's South African. And then also I really like the episode I Don't Own the Rights to This Black Body, which he made during, you know, Black Lives Matter 2020. So those are just a few of my favorite episodes. Yeah, Joe has just really inspired me this year. The third creator I want to put you guys onto is ELAINE WELTEROTH. Now, I discovered her in like summer of this year, so like May. Is May considered spring still? I'm not sure. So yeah, at this point, I'd come home from school. Obviously that actually happened in March. We came home from spring break and never went back. But yeah, a few months later, I found ELAINE WELTEROTH from a podcast I listened to. Not Joe's, but a different podcast. She was a guest, and I was like, yo, this woman's story is amazing, and I just really resonated with her on that interview. And so I went and bought her book, More Than Enough. This is my favorite thing. This was life-changing for me. You know how you have those just different things in life that are just aha moment or light bulb moments for you, like revelations? More Than Enough is one of those like moments for me reading this book. So More Than Enough is her memoir, but it's a lot more than a memoir. It's about, you know, confidence, it's about identity, it's about courage, it's about tapping into your purpose, daring to be bold. And it's a retelling of her story as she is a biracial woman. She is actually the former editor-in-chief of Teen Vogue. I should have prefaced that before. The second Black woman to be editor-in-chief in Condé Nast history, and also the youngest editor-in-chief. She was 29 when she had that position. She just talks about her life and her story, and as someone who is a young Black woman who also wants to be in this creative space, not necessarily in magazines, but like someone who is a creative and who's ambitious and has goals, reading her story was just such an aha moment, a light bulb moment, an empowering read about just perseverance and identity and overcoming, and just a reaffirmation that you are more than enough. In a society that so often wants to make Black women especially feel that they are less than. Reading ELAINE's book just opened my eyes to the many ways I've even partaken in the society, a patriarchal and white supremacist society that sends constant messages about Black women being less than. You can probably tell how much I love this book. I'm actually going to read you some of my favorite quotes. So this is on page 117, and it reads, "I realize that if we aren't vigilant, we can move through our entire lives feeling smaller than we actually are, by playing it safe, by unconsciously giving away our power, by dimming our radiance, by not recognizing there is always so much more waiting for us on the other side of fear. But when we are brave enough to go there, to grab what we want, to tap into who we are, damn, it feels so good." Another one of my favorite quotes is on page 200, and it reads, "Sometimes just being yourself is the radical act. When you occupy space in systems that weren't built for you, your authenticity is your activism." I also love this quote, page 85, that reads, "For the first time, I understood that the bigness of my life would be determined not only by the bigness of my dreams, but also by my capacity to trust that there is a higher power who would always take those dreams and multiply them. This was a reminder that there is a divine order, a divine flow to our lives. We do not need to have all the answers, but our job is to keep on dreaming and trusting enough to put one foot in front of the other, to keep moving forward, to keep pushing beyond whatever feels confining. to keep searching for where the magic is, to continue expanding, staying open to being stretched, and allowing room to be completely awed by how much better it gets along the way. So I literally have so many favorite quotes. Like, I wrote down so many examples. I don't even know how many I'm gonna keep in this video, but essentially it's just this book came at the perfect time of my life where I was home from school. I had a moment to think about what my life goals are right now, where I want to be in the next few years, and just reading her book, like, of her story, which is very inspiring and encouraging and like the perfect like role model I needed at the time I found this book. So ELAINE WELTEROTH, more than enough. She is definitely someone who shaped my 2020. So this summer, I also started volunteering with Transformation Church, which is an online church that I watch, and I've been watching for a few years actually, and I've been creating stuff for their creative team and for their Instagram, and whether it's sermon recaps or even some stuff that's shown during Sunday mornings. And having that community has really just impacted my 2020 and shaped it. Having other creative people, I don't really have a lot of creative friends in real life, and so having like a creative community, even virtually, you know, our weekly Zoom meetings, has been a huge benefit and blessing and an amazing opportunity. Seeing those types of positive feedback of people being touched by something I created, it's just a really dope feeling. Views do not equate to value. Like, that same video at 5 views, 10 views had the same value as, you know, 10,000 views. But it's just the ability of how many lives you're able to touch and impact. For me, I feel like that was God tapping me on the shoulder, being like, your work, you are meant to reach so many people. You're meant to touch a lot of people. So, and of course, I can't take credit for all the stuff that's on the feed. You know, we're a team and we work together. But just the ability to be a part of something that is so much bigger was very reassuring, and also having that community was just amazing. So, yeah. The Transformation Church creative team was definitely a huge highlight of this year, and I'll go ahead and link Transformation Church below. Y'all have definitely made my year. So the next creator is Brene Brown. Now, she's actually an author. She wrote a phenomenal book that I'm obsessed with called Braving the Wilderness, and I found this book actually through my therapist, and I just fell in love. Like, I searched her up, I saw one of her interviews, and I was like, yo, I need to know more about her. Now, she's a social scientist, a researcher. She's done a lot of different books, but this particular book, Braving the Wilderness, is about belonging, and that's a huge theme that I've been learning this year, what it means to belong, and just unpacking a lot of stuff from my childhood, as therapy usually is. And so her talking about this subject was just very eye-opening, and it helped me better understand what belonging is, what belonging should be, what's the difference between belonging and fitting in, and just having her break it down in a way that made sense, and also I could relate to a lot of her backstories when she talked about high school, which is amazing. I've literally watched so many interviews with her. I watched her Netflix special, which is incredible. I would recommend if you like that sort of personal development type content. This is actually the first book I just listened to as an audiobook. So I don't actually have the physical copy, but I listened to it on Audible, and I also took some notes in my phone. This is during the summer, so I would listen to the audiobook while I went on my morning walks, and it was really great. It's a pretty short read as well. It's like 4 hours on Audible. One of my favorite quotes is in chapter 2, and it says, "True belonging does not require you to see if you fit in. It requires you to be who you are." And I thought that was powerful. She also defines what trust and distrust is. This might sound boring to some of y'all, but I really like this personal development type content. She talks a lot about shame and vulnerability and a lot of different topics that are straight up my alley. So yeah, I actually bought her book, The Gifts of Imperfection, the 10-year edition, and I can't wait to start reading that. Brene Brown, thank you for your books and your research and your work. Definitely an eye-opener for me, and I'm really appreciative to my therapist for recommending me check out her content and her work. All right, the next creative, I have no idea how long this video is, but Belief in Fatherhood. So I found him, this is also summer, so we're still in the summertime now. This was during Black Lives Matter 2020. I was actually watching a Slice and Rice video, other, I guess, random plug, but Slice, or Matt, from the channel, he made a video about his experience with a unjust encounter that he had with the police, arresting him for a crime that he didn't commit. And he was talking about that, and underneath, he actually, in the description of the video, he linked a bunch of resources and channels that he really loved, and he actually linked to a video by Belief in Fatherhood where he, as a father of 4, talked to 2 of his sons about what it means to be Black in America, and just doing it in an age-appropriate way, but just having the conversation about being Black means people are going to look at you differently, and your experiences are going to be different simply because the color of their skin. But it was a necessary video, and that was a really moving moment. And it's literally the first video I've seen of Belief in Fatherhood. Just him having that conversation with his sons. And so I started looking into more of his content after that video. It's very highly produced. It looked good. And he basically is a family channel, but I feel like the word family channel has a negative connotation. So I feel like it's more than that. It's showing an example of healthy Black family, Black love, really just telling the stories of what it means to be a father and how great it is to be a father, reshaping the narrative that Black fathers don't exist in the home. So him as a Black man, a dark-skinned Black man with his dark-skinned chocolate babies, talking about, you know, life, love, family, marriage, and his experiences on fatherhood, the good and the bad. And so his family is adorable. His children, so cute. But I just really loved what his channel stood for, or what his channel stands for. And his stuff is just high quality. It's good content. It's like watching a movie. His daily vlogs, or not daily, but his vlogs are like watching movies. Another thing I really found interesting about him is that Belief actually produces his own music for his channel. So he raps, and one of my favorite songs of his is Black Joy is Magic, and that has become one of my themes for this year, and also for a lot of part of making this channel. I would totally recommend y'all like go listen to a song, listen to the lyricism, where he says in the chorus, first they're gonna say that you play too much, then they're gonna tell you that you act too tough, something, and then they're gonna tell you that you ain't Black enough. Something like that. Go listen to the song. I can't play it because, you know, copyright, but go listen to the song. But that just became a mantra of mine. Having joy is like magic when you're trying to beat the odds. Another great line from the song, but just very empowering. So either go check out the channel, go listen to his music. Great stuff, great content. Next creator is Kev on Stage and Mrs. Kev on Stage. So I love these two. I have become obsessed with their content this summer. So this is like towards the end of the summer. It seems like I've discovered everybody in the summer, but I've been following him for a long time. I think a lot of people that are kind of grown up similarly to me, churchy, Black, you kind of know of Kev on Stage. But I didn't really start watching his content consistently until this summer. First of all, he's just hilarious on Instagram. I saw something really funny that he was posting about Maserati Kev. There's a whole story about him in a Maserati, which is funny. But then I went and checked out his podcast on YouTube because I was like, hey, this guy is funny. I want to see what else he does. Because you know how algorithms work. Once I was watching more of his stuff on Instagram, his stuff was showing up more in my feed. So I went on YouTube, searched him up, see what else he was doing. And he had started a podcast called Here's the Thing, which was hilarious. There are a few people that made me laugh out loud. KEEYUH, like I said at the beginning of the video, one of them. Kev on Stage, another one. He is hilarious, especially Here's the Thing podcast with his co-host Angel. They have such good chemistry. They're funny. One of my favorite episodes of Here's the Thing is the CPS almost took our kids. Seafood boil mukbang. You have to go actually click on these videos like for context about these things. Usually the titles contain topics that they talk about in the video. That is the episode that I watched that I was like, okay, this is gold. Like, I love this show. So that's Kev on Stage. But also going on to Mrs. Kev on Stage, who also had a significant, I feel like, equal impact on me this year, was finding the Love Hour podcast, where essentially she talks all things life, love, happiness, marriage, just all different types of things, personal development. Her main theme is becoming, and that's something that I feel like I've adapted and really resonated with. I love her episode about self-sabotage.
The idea that we have a capacity limit for which we're able to receive love, the idea that we have a capacity limit that we're able to experience happiness means that there's this, again, this internal thermostat that we say, oh no, this feels like I'm overjoyed. I'm way too excited. This is quite vulnerable. This isn't what I'm expecting. So let me pull back as if I want to protect myself.
Yeah. I can't feel love, but I also can't feel pain or hurt.
Exactly. And so the same mechanism, the same door that opens you up to receive hurt is unfortunately is the same door that allows you to experience an abundance of joy and happiness.
This whole idea of the upper limit problem, self-sabotage, them just being real and talking about that, even at their, high level of success, was just inspiring and relatable, healing. I don't even know the right words for it, but it just resonated with me a lot. I love videos of people to sit and talk. So those are my favorite sort of highlights from Kev on Stage and Mrs. Kev on Stage. I literally, as I was setting up for this video, I was watching The Love Hour. I've laughed hysterically, been moved deeply and emotionally by their episodes, their podcasts, both Here's the Thing and The Love Hour. And I just they've had a huge impact on this year. I can't stop talking about them. All right, and I have one more creative that I'm gonna talk about today, even though I could talk about so many people. But the last person is Natalie Manuel Lee. So I found her this summer also. I found so many people this summer. But a lot of people I found like in the beginning, in middle of the year, or just started watching more during those periods, are people I feel like that they just kind of went with me for the rest of the year. Yeah. Anyways, y'all don't care about that. But Natalie Manuel Lee, she has a series on the Hillsong channel called Now with Natalie, all about identity, purpose, becoming. It's like a mixture of like a show, but like an interview. She's had so many guests from so many different ranges of fields. She's had people all the way from like Hailey Bieber, also ELAINE WELTEROTH, who wrote this book. That's actually how I found the series. I saw ELAINE on one of the episodes. Jordan Woods, Tyson Chandler, the athlete, Yvonne Orji, the actress, Van Lathan, Lecrae. She's had so many really incredible guests, and I've watched every episode. She has 2 seasons. One of my favorite episodes is from season 1. It's with her sister. Her name's Angela Davis, not like, Black Power Angela Davis, but the episode's about purpose. Now I literally went back the other day and to go, get that link, and apparently season 1 is like gone off of YouTube. One with Tyson Chandler talking about fame and how like us people aren't really built for fame. They're just all so good. What are some ones from season 2 that I like that are actually still on YouTube right now? Yeah, she did one with Charlamagne the God on mental health. Kristen and Danny Adams, who I'm pretty sure were they're comedy people. I just recently watched their episode and it was good. I like Van Lathan's on resilience and also like the Black experience. They just have a lot of really good episodes now with Natalie. I'd recommend y'all check it out. And also a big theme of it is like spirituality and how knowing who you are in God connects you to your purpose, what you're meant to do here on earth. So I like how she combines all these things and takes people from a wide range of careers. Kelly Rowland's another guest they had, and just talks about, purpose, shame, identity, and how a lot of these things are keeping a lot of people captive in this generation, and just setting people free from that by having these guests and having them tell their stories on the show in such a powerful way. So yeah, those are some creatives that really made my year, but I just wanted to make this sort of reflection just to tell you guys some cool creators and just sort of to reflect back on my year and sort of what events and content and stuff really shaped my year this year. And I just wanted to share this with you guys. So what creators have made your year this year? Or what have you learned this year? Just, comment down below. What are your takeaways from 2020? I hope you guys have happy holidays and a happy new year. And I will see you guys in my next video. Bye, you guys.